All right, it's time for Doubleheader Sunday for the first time in IPL 2021. Yes, that's right. 2 games on one day. Double dhamaka, as we like to call it in India. And it's going to be a whole lot of fun. We have Bangalore versus Kolkata and Punjab versus Delhi, the North Indian derby. But before all of that, let's quickly talk about Mumbai versus Hyderabad, the big game on Saturday as well. Well, yet again, Mumbai pulled things back in the last 5 overs and changed the complexion of the game entirely. Mumbai obviously batted first, 150 on the board. Clearly not enough, but at the end of the day, until the 10th over, until the 11th or the 12th over, even Hyderabad were looking like they had a role to play, like they stood a chance to win the game, win their first game, remember. But then Mumbai pulled things back. How towards the end? Got a couple of quick wickets there in the middle overs, and then Mumbai's experienced pace bowling attack put the pressure back on Hyderabad's young, inexperienced middle order, and that was that. Hyderabad lost out yet again. Mumbai win their second game on the trot. Sign of things to come maybe for Mumbai, but Hyderabad certainly will be worried if these are the things to come. Okay, let's do things a little differently this time. Let's quickly go into the games to come today, because there are 2 games and there's a lot to talk about, and I don't want you guys to get too held up as well. Quick video, and then off you go. Enjoy your Sunday. All right, the first one. Let's talk about the first game. It's Bangalore versus Kolkata, the first day game of IPL 2021. That's right, day game in Indian conditions in Chennai. So everything is different. Everything becomes different entirely. The weather, the conditions, the surface, everything. So most definitely the preparations and how the teams sort of go about it also becomes changes in accordance to that, because conditions, playing in the evening is different and playing in the morning is different, no matter where you're playing in the world, and especially when you're playing in Chennai, because the dew factor completely goes out the window. So will that prompt the captain that wins the toss to bat first is a question that we will answer in just a bit. But first, let's take a closer look at these 2 teams, because they've had a very interesting journey so far. Bangalore, of course, unbeaten in 2 games, but in times they look suspect. In times we wondered how they went over the line, but credit to them. The couple of things have worked for them. The Maxwell bit has worked for them. AB de Villiers has shown. Virat Kohli at the top has provided some runs. The bowling has worked as well. The likes of Harshal Patel, etc., have been revelation. So credit to Bangalore where due. But they'll also want to sort of grow in their ability to close games towards the end, because they've been suspect towards the end with the bat in the first game and then with the ball in the second game as well. So they don't want that murkiness around them for sure going forward from a Bangalore perspective, and that'll be an area that they'll definitely look forward to. Talking about Kolkata, I think they've had contrasting games, but they will not be too phased about it, because let's face it, they look like a very good unit. They look like a team that is very sorted, especially in their bowling contingent. And I think the contests that I'm looking forward to are 2 major contests, primarily predicated on Bangalore's batting versus Kolkata's bowling, because those are the 2 strongholds of these teams at this point, remember. And in accordance to that, I think the spin bowling attack of Kolkata versus the likes of Virat and Devdutt Padikkal at the top end, whoever Bangalore choose to bat at 3, is one contest. And the other contest I'm looking at is Pat Cummins and Andre Russell versus ABD and Glenn Maxwell. These are key contests that could go on and decide the game and the course of the game. The way these matchups go, and the representatives of each team, the way they sort of go about going about their business in these matchups will sort of decide how this game goes, in my opinion. I think RCB have no concerns. They really have no concerns. For Kolkata, I think they want to close off games better. They want to see Russell come to the party, and it's a desperate thing. That, make no mistake about it. Kolkata, the franchise and Kolkata fans will be desperate to see Russell back in action and get runs. Remember, his bowling has clicked, but getting runs is very important at this point for Andre Russell, and that is the biggest concern for Kolkata at this point. Apart from that, not a lot. Apart from that, for RCB, not a lot indeed. So closing the game will be important for both these teams, and they're playing in Chennai in the afternoon in humid conditions. So it will be interesting to see how this game goes about, how this game unfolds rather. Will they play an extra spin option because it's in the day that with the heat There could be some disintegration in the surface. Perhaps not. If they're playing on red soil in the day, it could be a completely different game. So the surface usually decides the course of the game in Chennai, and depending if they're playing on the red soil, if they're playing on the slightly brownish strip that they played on yesterday, that sort of decides which type of bowler will rule the roost. But it's usually the team that bowls better in Chennai wins, and it'll be interesting to see which from these two teams sort of goes out there and does their best. And I think at this point Kolkata slightly have the advantage indeed. All right, let's take a look at the other game on Sunday, and don't rule this game out at all, because it is the North Indian derby. It is Punjab versus Delhi. Two very attractive teams, right? Two young teams, young captains, and a lot of firepower in both of these teams. But they've had a slightly rocky second game. Both of them coming into this game on the back of defeats. Of course, Delhi looked like they fizzled away versus Rajasthan. Major talking point about Delhi is what was that batting order at the end of the day? You looked at Prithvi, Shikhar, Rahane, Rishabh, right? And then Stoinis, Lalit Yadav, Chris Woak, Sam Curran. That's not your batting order. You bat till 4-ish, and then you have all-rounders right away from 5 is really not how you want to go about your business. And I think Rishabh Pant and Ricky Ponting would have felt the sting that they felt versus Rajasthan, because if they had an extra 20 runs in that game, then it was Delhi's game by far. Rajasthan would have really struggled to sort of get over the line in that game. So I think that is one major talking point for Delhi. They would really be keen to add to their batting lineup and get in Hetmeyer, or get in Smith, or get in Sam Billings. These are fabulous options that you have in your overseas players. At this point in your Indian quota, you have inexperienced young players. Of course, Lalit Yadav look good, but at the end of the day, you need bulk runs. You need somebody who can bring in firepower as well towards number 6, number 7. So there are options there for Delhi to be explored, definitely. For Punjab, I think a freak show in their previous game versus Chennai. Soft dismissals, run outs, these things happen. These things happen to teams, and the key is, do they get worked up, right? Do they get worked up, or do they sort of let this go and just focus on their processes and try and get bat on ball, try and sort of build partnerships and build totals and do the basics right in the field? They could go either way. At this point, it looked like Kumble and co were a little worked up during the game. They were stressed. They looked like the world was upon their heads. The weight of the world was upon their heads, rather. And that is a feeling that you have to do away with if you're a franchise that's going to win anything in competitive sport, to be very honest. So Punjab have to get out of their own way. KL Rahul has to get out of his own way. I think the key talking point from a tactical perspective, or rather from a form perspective, is the form of Mayank Agarwal and Nicholas Pooran. I think that is something that they would be very keen to sort of fix at the earliest possible stage. They do not want these two important players in their top 4 to go without runs for a long time. You can't see, if Gale has an off day, if Rahul has an off day, then who makes your runs, right? That's exactly what happened versus Chennai as well. So your top 4 has to go, has to click. 2 among your 4 have to click. 1 among your 4 has to click at all times for you to make big runs in this tournament. And it's going to be very, very crucial for Punjab that they fix that right away. All in all, I think it's going to be an interesting game. A lot of firepower in these two teams. Perhaps we could see a big score from one of them or one of the players, but certainly more shots on offer in the second game than the first game in this doubleheader Sunday. And I think it's going to be a great day. It's a beautiful Sunday. Yeah, right. It's a beautiful Sunday. Stay in your homes, wear your masks if you're going out, wash your hands regularly, but just park yourselves in front of the TV with your phones in your hand and log on to cricketnews.com. Like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, and just enjoy your time indoors and enjoy all that's unfolding in IPL 2021, starting with the double headers today. 2 big games, nothing you could ask for more.